Organizations win championships. A Chicago Bulls podcast with Jason and Dan Bernstein on 312 Sports.
Welcome to episode 119 of Organizations Win Championships, a Chicago Bulls podcast here on 312 Sports. I'm Dan Bernstein. That is Jason Bernstein. And now we can say, and it means something, the man in the middle, literally and figuratively, is former Bulls center Will Perdue, who is here to talk about your Chicago Bulls, who currently, after that incredibly improbable win last night, I'll tell you how improbable in a little bit, but the Bulls are 7-6, currently 8th in the East as they continue their Western swing. And as of right now, they are 13th in offensive rating, 21st in defensive rating, and 18th in net rating. But they are certainly playing an exciting, energetic brand of basketball, going way deep on this roster due to injuries, and certainly more than worth our time so far this season. Will, I know it's been a while since you've had the platform to opine on your Chicago Bulls. The easy question right now, what do you think?
I enjoy watching them, quite honestly. I think the record, not necessarily how they played at the beginning and how they played at the end. I think that record of 7-6 is kind of where they are as far as the quality of a team. As you talked about that, I mean, listen, considering a double overtime game against Utah, no Kobe White, if I was a gambling man, I would have bet on Denver and the points all night long, right? But then they come and they win that game. So as much as I just made the statement, I enjoy watching them play. I love their depth. Quite honestly, they might have the best bench in the league when you talk about, from 6 to 10, as far as the depth that they have. A specific example is Javon Carter doesn't hardly play, but then last night gives you 15 points, 4 rebounds. But I think we're still at the level, which is indicative of the last 2 games, small sample size, but still at the level where this team continues to play at the level of their competition. And until they can flip that script and force teams to play at their level, I think that's where we'll continue to see the inconsistencies. But fun to watch, never out of a game, and make it exciting.
Yeah,
but I found. Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, they're never out of a game, and that's 100% true. There have been a few times where they've let teams back into games, and we saw it on opening night against Detroit. They did come back, and we will, I'm assuming, get to the Detroit game. But they, like you said, they no matter how good or bad the team is, they either play up or down. And so it's really hard to know where they'll be. But the thing is that if they keep doing it in this fashion, I think you're right. If they go 500, that would be a wild upset when it comes to preseason over/under win total. So, and in this conference, that could be a playoff spot. That's definitely a play-in spot, if not a playoff spot, because this conference is very weak with the amount of injuries and just the quality of teams. It's not as high as the West.
No, I agree with you 100%. Listen, we've all felt that we were going for a four-peat when it came towards the play-in tournament, right? And best case scenario, possibly slide into that 6th spot. Then after those first 5 games, you're like, oh yeah, these guys, they're good. But you always kind of held your breath a little bit, right? You kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop, and then things just kind of turned on them a little bit. But like you said, Jason, because of the lack, I don't want to say talent, because there's a lot of talent in the East. There's just so much uncertainty, right? We're like scratching our head about what's going on with the Orlando Magic. We're asking ourselves, who are the Miami Heat? Because they're no longer a grind them out kind of team. They're trying to play up tempo as well. And without Tyler Hero and somebody else, they just beat Cleveland. We know what Boston is. They're dumping salary and they've got serious injuries. You never know if Joel Embiid's going to make it to the playoffs. Now you got Giannis is hurt in Milwaukee. So, if the Bulls can stay healthy and get healthy, Kobe played one game, took a game off. You really don't know what can happen, because as much as you try to value and make assessments in the regular season, and this is just my opinion, the style of which they play, up tempo, the style of which they have to play, up tempo, to give themselves the best chance to win. And I'd love to get your opinion, because their defensive rating is only 21st in the league. It's not good enough to maintain over a 7-game series if you're playing a healthy team, to give them an honest opportunity to win a series. Now, if it's an unhealthy team and somebody's hurt and they limp into the playoffs, they've got a really good chance of beating somebody because of how they play and their depth. But I think I'd love to get your guys' opinion as well. That's two things I want your opinion on. You still don't have that guy,
right,
that you can go to in the playoffs, because as much as they want to try to push the tempo, that may be the one thing out of how much the game has changed. That is the one thing that still remains, that to me remains constant, is the game slows down in the playoffs, specifically in the fourth quarter. And that, to me, is a disadvantage to this Bulls team and the way they have to play and the way they're put together.
Well, I think a lot of that, too, has shown itself when the losing streak began, when you saw what happened. First, it was Giannis taking over, and there was nothing they could do. Then it was Donovan Mitchell of the Cavaliers taking over, nothing they could do. And then, my God, what Wemby did to them in the fourth quarter, I don't expect. There are a lot of teams that can't do that. And we even saw what Lauri Markkanen was doing. I think that's part of it, too, is being able to counter somebody where you know where it's going, you know what they're doing. I think the other aspect for which you asked our opinion is when it comes to style of play, I think there's a higher volatility in their reliance on three-pointers. It isn't just the pace. It's what the pace is getting them, and the number of times we see a Josh Giddey drive, not necessarily to finish, but to kick it out and get that quick rotation and get that three. There's going to be nights where they're falling. Hell, they won this last game last night in large part due to that 40-point third quarter where they just exploded. And like you say, Javon Carter was 5 of 10. He's got 15 points in 18 minutes. There's going to be games where he comes in and he's 0 for 8 and you lose. So yeah. I just think that they've chosen this life that looks a whole lot better with a healthy Kobe White, with a healthy Trey Jones. And the worries that I have, well, we're certainly going to get into that. But, Will, I don't know how you can sustain this without rim protection. And they're utterly lacking in rim protection right now. And if it means, I don't know, they're going to make a deadline move, but their inability to block a shot makes it hard to sustain winning at this tempo.
Yeah, because it's just because one of the things, and I know, listen, we're talking about a championship caliber quality team when I talk about, on the teams that I played on. But
that's the standard. The title of this podcast
flex there too.
Is organizations win championships. And that, while of course it's a reference to what Jerry Krause said and what was widely misinterpreted by Michael Jordan and others, but that's the standard here. So we should talk about it that way.
I agree with you, because I say it all the time, that people are like, why can't you just focus on this team, how well they're playing and how well Herter's playing and how well Io's playing. Let's just talk about that stuff. As Chuck likes to say, balloons and seashells, right? And I enjoy talking about all the good things that they're doing and the great stories that they have. That's why I'm sitting here saying I've been to every freaking home game because they're so entertaining to watch, right? So I apologize. I missed one. But I've been to like my wife and I, we're going to the game because, they're fun to watch. Sometimes it's a little too much drama and unnecessary drama. But like you talked about, during a timeout, during late game situations, there's no thought about, maybe we shouldn't drive this thing into the paint. The results are going to be disastrous, right? Let's run a little screen roll, turn the corner. If you can get all the way to the rim, we'll take the easy 2. If they want to collapse, just like everybody in the league does, then we'll get the paint touch and we'll kick out to the guy in the corner. Then if he's guarded, then you dump it off to the guy on the wing, who most likely at that point will be open because there's just too many passes in a short period of time for the defense to recover, and they'll get an open 3. But more times than not, as you just talked about, there's just you can get to the rim unabated, and you sit there and you're like, what just happened to the rotation? And the thing is, I know people love to bash on Vooch, right? I know the fans here are they're not big fans. You know, they like Vooch when he plays well, and when the team loses, he has a tendency to be the ire of their disappointment,
including Dan Bernstein.
To him.
Yeah, no,
Dan.
I've got my issues with.
Yeah, you texted me last night
because if you get him involved in a high screen roll and you make him like Markkanen carved him.
Well,
up.
Markkanen
and I'm not. Look, Zubats did it last year. All you need is that high pick and roll and take advantage of his lack of foot speed. Your guy's going to beat him to the basket every time.
Yeah, but you're saying Lauri Markkanen like he hasn't been. Like he's not averaging 30.6 points per game.
No, but I know, and I'm not
Which
even
is ridiculous to say.
I'm not holding
also.
Jokic against him at all because nobody can do anything with that. He's impossible to guard. So I'm not. And I know Stacey is always calling in the games for post him up, and they don't. It's just not what they're running.
No, they don't want to do that because
no.
But that's the other thing is I agree with Stacey. Because just because that's, old school basketball doesn't mean you can still score from inside out. Because if he can score 6 or 8 straight points, the defense is going to adjust. And they're going to then double to take the ball out of his hands. And then who do you think's open on the perimeter? The shooters. It's just because, Dan, and you know this, and so does Jason, the game has changed. It works from outside in instead of inside out. That's just what the game is. It's all about analytics, right? You talked about the threes. 2 straight games of 50-plus. Now, I know the Utah game, it was double overtime, but the Denver game wasn't double overtime, and I think what'd they shoot? 53 threes. Now, they shot 36%. That's great. But we also know that that's fool's gold. And that's what I mean, and you hit it right on the head. 2 things. Number 1. Who is the guy you can go to in late game situations when your team is struggling to score as a team because of the defense you're playing against, right? I know this is, and you talked about it, so let's do this. Organizations win championships. Let's talk about the best teams in the league. What is the defensive rating for the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Oh, I'm sure I can check it right now, but it's probably number 1.
I think it's top 5. Okay, along with their offense, but they have probably the MVP. Who I love the fact when guys win the MVP.
Yeah, they're number 1 in defensive rating.
Yeah,
and
that's a dangerous combination. Number 1 in defensive rating, youngest team in the league, coming off winning a championship. And I just read an article today. Do you see how many teams' draft picks they have coming up in this
all
year's draft?
Of them.
It's not okay.
It's all of them.
I mean, it's just. I mean, come on, man. This is not good for the league.
Sam Presti.
But my point is that okay, that's the benchmark, right? You got to figure out a way. Your defense has to be better than 21st if you really want to make a punch, an impact in the playoffs. And that's, as you pointed out, I always tell people there are certain organizations, the Chicago Bulls, number 1, because this is what the podcast is about. The Miami Heat, number 2. The Boston Celtics, number 3. The Los Angeles Lakers, number 4. The San Antonio Spurs, number 5. Now you could say Denver. Even though they've only won 1 championship, you see what their goal is. Mm-hmm. It's championship or bust, right? Because if Denver doesn't make it to the finals, to them, their season is a waste. It's a failure. Same thing with Oklahoma City. Same thing because LeBron's in LA. I don't think they're getting there, but that's their goal. And that's probably the one thing that we sit here and ask ourselves, what exactly is the goal of this organization? And the reason why I word it like that, okay, is because I think all three of us will agree, and you surprised me, Dan, by saying this team is fun to watch. They play a tempo that is exciting. They rely, they lean heavily on the three, and they win games that they probably shouldn't, and they lose games that they probably shouldn't. But that's every team in the league. But the reason why I say this is now, to me, about the organization is because the team is who the team is.
Yeah.
You guys have actually done a nice job. I mean, at the end of the day, we all kind of thought that, they were joking. I'll just be vague here and say they were joking when they said, I want 10 good guys.
Yeah, he said it, and I kind of laughed when Arturas said, sometimes we look at, we can win with depth. And I was laughing. And here's the thing. He's right to an extent.
Correct.
I think you can win these games. You can be a really fun regular season team and maybe win a playoff series by out-trying people and having...
and depth is important. Don't get me wrong. Depth is incredibly important. You look at the Phoenix Suns, what happened to them when they were a really deep team and they had Jay Crowder and Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges on those teams. They got to the NBA Finals and won 2 games. And then you get rid of it for Kevin Durant, and look what happened to that. But I understand what you're saying, that it can't just be depth. You need to have a guy, as Will was saying, that you need star power in this league. And back to your point about rim protection, and this goes to what are the Bulls going to do to get closer to a championship? Is it going to be this season? Probably not. But what are they going to do? Because you don't want to be in that middle ground. What I'm going toward here is it's speculation, and I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but it's worth noting if Anthony Davis becomes available. No?
Too old.
But then why do we have Vooch?
I thought you were going to bring up a different name.
What, John Morant?
What if Lowry Markkanen becomes available?
Oh, well, but that's true.
Because they're if you look at that roster...
Yeah, the Warriors didn't trade for him because Draymond Green said no, and people are just saying, well, you would have been in that package and shipped to Utah.
If you start looking around, like Keontae George and Ace Bailey... They've got some dudes, and when I start looking for the future, like who's the next Houston, it might be Portland who they're going to see next.
Oh, don't get me started on Portland.
But this Utah team is really well coached, and so if they think that maybe Markkanen doesn't quite line up, I'm on the phone because then we're talking. Then it's getting interesting.
And you actually have some talent that teams are probably interested in, quite honestly, right?
Yeah.
So, listen, it's still a situation. You mentioned Anthony Davis. It's just, I'm sorry. I mean,
I just thought it would, because it's rim protection, and that's
I like
star.
his talent, but
it's the thought. He's hurt all the time. That's the thing, and he's fat now.
Hey, here's the other thing that I'm going to throw at you when you mention players like that. If we had somebody, and I don't know this for a fact, okay, but let's hear me out for a second. It's like, what made Jerry Krause and Phil Jackson feel like that Dennis Rodman, and I'm not bringing this up because I was the one traded for him, but think about this. What made Phil Jackson and Jerry Krause feel like they could trust Dennis Rodman, considering his history, if he came to Chicago, meaning he's going to show up, he's going to go out to the edge of the diving board, but not jump in the deep end? Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how much he hated Michael when he was at Detroit, he respected him. And he was going to play and continue to be there for that respect. Yeah, he skipped practices. He partied all the time. He bitched and moaned about how he needed to leave Utah and go to Vegas and all this stuff, right? But at the end of the day, Michael knew that when it was time for a game, when he turned and looked to his left, Dennis was there. And that's because Dennis respected Phil Jackson and Dennis respected Michael Jordan. I'm not sure he respected anybody else, but because of those two guys.
I'm not sure he respected himself.
Correct. But he was playing for the other guys. He wasn't playing for himself, right? But that's my point is that do we think that Anthony Davis as a player, because and this is just part of what I think from how I was brought up, the organizations I played with, since Doncic has left that team, what has he become as a player?
Well, that I don't know that he would be ready to buy into whatever the Bulls have right now. And I don't generally think you can, you win a championship because of chemistry or want to or buy in. But it is noticeable with this Bulls team. And I'll tell you, last night I saw something that I loved. And it was, of all people, when Patrick Williams was pulled down by Tim Hardaway Jr., and then I think it was Jamal Murray that came in and hit him in the face. They ended up calling a flagrant on the pull down and not on the contact with his face. They did call a flagrant one, but I'll be damned that Patrick Williams got up and went nose to nose and showed a little bit of an energy that I hadn't seen from him. Of course, Dalen Terry comes running in because he can't wait to be part of something, and I don't really mind some of that. And I'm not saying I want guys fighting, and I don't want guys suspended or throwing punches or being stupid.
But for Patrick,
hey man, that's Patrick, the Mr. Passive, Ferdinand the Bull out there picking flowers. That for him to do that, it said something to me, and there definitely is, and say what you want about all these guys who maybe you hadn't heard of or hadn't really watched before. Trey Jones plays hard, man.
He's a good player.
He's a really good second unit point guard, and while Kevin Huerter.
All right, hold on.
Kevin Huerter's he's a tough
Red
nut.
Velvet.
You brought that up.
They got NBA players.
Yep.
I'm going to throw something out there. And this is you got to remember something. What's coming up? What's around the bend here? Kobe White's going to be a free agent. I would assume it was going to be a free agent. I'm not saying that Trey Jones is a better player than Kobe White. Please don't misinterpret what I'm about to say. But I truly believe if you take that starting unit for what we think it's supposed to be, that Trey Jones is a better fit for that starting unit than Kobe White.
Ooh. Now,
honestly, Dad, before you say anything, I called you Dad, so that means we're getting real.
I must have said something stupid if you're calling me Dad.
Because did I not tell you when Trey Jones was playing in the starting lineup, I said they look really damn good. I said it.
Okay. Let me
I said
just,
it.
You're not
Kobe
wrong.
Kobe White off of the bench, and granted, the bench unit's been great. And I do want to say Jalen Smith has been great in limited minutes.
Oh, but they've asked so much of him too.
15-8 coming back, baby. Yeah. Also,
you're not letting that go.
Never. But imagine Kobe coming off the bench and scoring 22. Why can't he do that?
Because
I understand that he's definitely the best individual scorer on the team.
I think Trey Jones is a second unit point guard on a champion. I don't think he's a starting point guard on a champion. And I think Josh Giddey, if you look at their system, and if you watch the 5-out stuff that Billy is running here, and it's very common, and in the games that I've gone to, I have been tracking and trying to diagram as best I can what a lot of other teams are doing. And a lot of teams are running the same 5-out stuff, where we used to go to a game and everybody's running floppy actions and everybody's running ISOs and everybody's running slice cuts, and the pin downs and all that. What we're seeing now is all this 5-out, the high screen rolls into flare actions and into the weak side dive cuts with everybody away. And I love the way Kobe fits with Giddey, in some of the guard quick actions that they can do. Trey Jones just can't shoot well enough in what they're doing. Now, if they ran some more traditional point guard based stuff, Jay, I agree with you. I also think they're a better defensive team when Kobe's not necessarily out there.
Well, that's also Trey Jones is a great defensive player.
He is.
So you can't.
So smart,
that's not really. So
savvy
that's not really
defensive player.
That's not really a comparison.
I just want to say that.
Hold on. The only thing that I don't like with Giddey and Kobe together is that I feel like I understand that Kobe's a great off-ball shooter. He's great in the catch and shoot.
Great catch and shoot. Yep.
Great catch and shoot, and I think that fits really well. However, who are you giving the ball to at the end of the game?
Giddey.
Because Giddey can make a play, but Kobe's your best scorer. And I think that Kobe in general, I know he's good off the ball. I think both of them are too on-ball dominant to be...
Too ball needy?
Too ball needy, yeah, because Giddey needs to make a play. He can do that little floater off the glass. He can pass the ball. And I honestly prefer the ball in Giddey's hands because there are more options, in my opinion, because of his passing ability. And also, I think his height matters. If you get a switch...
He's finally realizing he's 6'8". Yeah.
6'9". I was saying he's 6'9".
Will, what do you...
It might be the hair.
Who?
But
Giddey.
But Fletch?
6'9" with the afro, yeah?
All right, now hold on a second.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing. I mean, it's not like anything you said is wrong. But to me... If you want to talk about a late game situation, okay, you don't have a DeMar DeRozan on this team.
Good.
Okay? But what you do have, as Dan, you just pointed out, you might have one of the best facilitators in the league in Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
So I feel like that, number one, you put the ball in Josh Giddey's hands in late game situations, because he can score good enough to be a threat.
Yeah.
To where you got to be very careful with how you help or how far you play off. And number two, you need to start running some Steph Curry action, because I'll ask both you guys, in late game situations, do the Golden State Warriors just hand the ball to Steph and say, go to work?
No.
They run them off a bunch of screens, a lot of player screens. Don't they basically put the ball in somebody else's hands and let him basically run somebody, kind of like you used to see Hersey Hawkins at Bradley, right? The same type of thing. Not a guy that breaks you down off the dribble. He can with the eyebrow fake and all that stuff, but a guy they run off, and he's so quick with his catch and release. Even when you're in his face, I think you could be really successful running those type of plays for Kobe. I really do, because of his ability to shoot like that.
He can't shoot like that, though. I mean, Steph Curry's
he's one of a kind. He's the guy that changed the game.
Yeah.
He's the guy that changed. But it's a copycat league. So in order to win, you need guys that are similar than that. Yeah. And I think Kobe can do stuff like that. I really do. But it's because of the fact that you now have Giddey that permits you to do that.
Yeah, my worry, though, is if you're doing some of that, I know there are ways you can counter it. Obviously, if you prefer that he finishes at the rim, you would trail. So you would have his man trail and help to force a curl. You could, in any number of these screens that you're talking about, Will, you can double. You can blitz it, and depending on the athletic, these in positionless basketball, there's so many opportunities to either switch or double and recover. We've seen the Bulls get burned by switches because in not necessarily knowing who's following whom and requiring that kind of communication. But I think Kobe. I don't know that Kobe's handle is tight enough that if you force him to catch and put it on the floor, teams will come weak and attack that dribble with flash doubles.
Right now, but you're exactly right? Because if I'm an opponent, my goal is now to take the ball out of the hands of Josh Giddey and Kobe White. Let somebody else beat us. But this is where I think sometimes you make a mistake by putting your best shooters on the floor. Sometimes you got to put your smartest players on the floor so that those guys can read off exactly what you said, where you as a coach now have the confidence. And that's the other thing is I think that the Bulls did a great job of improving their basketball IQ because I agree with you. I think that now in late game situations, you should have Josh Giddey on the floor as your primary ball handler and facilitator, right? Because he's proven that he can get to the rim. He's proven that he can knock down a three occasionally, right? His shooting has gotten better. But now we're talking about, and Kobe, because he's your best scorer. But now to me, you got to go with smarts. And there's a reason why this dude is playing the best basketball of his life. And that's Kevin Huerter. He needs to be on the floor in late game situations. And not because he's some great player, but when I watch him play, his basketball IQ blows me away. How he sneaks in and gets offensive rebounds. How he's the guy that's always doing the back cut when the play is over, when he's overplayed and he's getting easy looks at the rim. Because it's just like last night in that game, you're like, Huerter. And then you're like, 20?
Mm-hmm.
How the hell did he score 20? Right? But also, out of only 12 shots, 7 of 12, 4 of 9 from 3. Smart basketball IQ, when those switches are made, he can do what you can do. All right? And then now, because of his smarts, Trey Jones, not because he's a great shooter, but because of how smart he is, and then Ayo Dosunmu. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. That's a 5-guard lineup. I'm like, if you got the ball last, hell yeah, that's the 5-guard lineup. Good luck trying to guard him.
On offense, the only problem I have with Huerter is the ability to get somebody switched onto him to attack him individually defensively. And I know that Billy can do this if it is one of these sequential situational times where when you put Patrick Williams in and have a really good free throw shooter, a guy who can hit logo threes, who is also capable of holding his own physically defensively. I wish you could combine some of these players too. No, Okoro's a wonderful defensive player.
No,
but they're leaving him on offense.
I wanted to mention, and this is just kind of a general question. Should Patrick Williams start over Okoro? Because when we talked to Jason Goff, he's not the biggest fan of Okoro, and I think that his limited offensive output, as good of a defender as he is, if you're looking to even be a 6th seed in the playoffs, it's hard when one of your starters can't score at all.
Yeah, but also remember this, okay? Go back to last year and the year before. When you put P. Will on the floor with scores, what happens to him?
Yeah, true.
Disappears.
He just kind of fades.
Okay, so if you put him in that starting lineup, he then basically becomes your 5th option. So then what happens? He has a tendency to stand around. I think in his mind, he truly believes that he's a better scorer with the second unit because I feel like he plays harder and he plays better with the second unit. I mean, I think what we've seen as of late is a little uptick in his scoring. I mean, I think this is who he is, right? We've always talked about, and you hit him on the head, he's very passive. He's not aggressive. I talked about somebody should be feeding this guy nails. But I think he's a guy, quite honestly, that's going to give you between 7 and 10 points a night, 7 points against Denver. And he's never going to be the rebounder that we want him to be. I mean, it's for him to have only 2 rebounds in 17 minutes, that's unforgivable. But that happens more often than not. So he's probably a guy that's going to give you 7 to 10 points and 3 to 5 rebounds, right? I think Okoro is basically this. Those 2 guys are the same exact guys, but I like Okoro's motor more so than I like P. Will's motor. That's just my opinion. I think you could go either way, but then you start asking yourself, okay, who's the better fit for what unit and playing with who? And then that's where Billy's job comes into question. And I'm not saying he's doing a bad job. I think he's actually doing a really good job. But sometimes, listen, Chip Schaefer used to say this all the time when he was our trainer, too smart is dumb. Sometimes you got to rely on the eye test and stick with what you got.
All right, you mentioned Jalen Smith a couple of times, and it's been really interesting for me to see this poor dude has been asked to be something he's not. And that's because of the injury to Nick Collins, that
Zach Collins.
Zach Collins, that they'll be a much better team when he comes back. I didn't think that we'd get to this point in the season, and I see him at a game, I'm like, ooh, he's a decent rotational big who can do a little bit of rim protection, and who...
Are you saying Collins or Smith?
Collins?
Yeah.
Collins. And ideally, I would like to slot Jalen Smith down, cut his minutes down a little bit, and not ask him to do what he's being asked to do athletically, because some of the three-pointers that he's hitting, I would... And I don't know what's going to hold up. I think his minute load is probably asking a lot over the course of the season. And same with Vooch, too, that at some point a 35-year-old guy just can't be playing the minutes that he's playing. But Zach Collins coming back is gonna help them more than I think people realize in this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, we'll see. I don't know when our next update is on him, but I do like the fact that they had a plan on Kobe White. They knew what they were going to do. They weren't messing around with something as precarious as a calf injury.
Yeah, as we saw in the finals.
Yeah, I think I'm right, but I think a broken bone in the hand, they've got a little better sense of what the risks are with that. But I'll be interested to see what that contribution is. So when you start looking, Will, at the distribution of minutes and the way Billy is working through all of the injuries that they've had to deal with right now, and how do you start looking at the course of the season about minute loads? And the good thing about going 10 or sometimes 11 or 12 guys over the course of some of these games, that you have the opportunities for guys to earn more minutes. Does anything stand out to you as underusage, overusage, or where you want the balance to be so they can maintain this kind of effort?
No, I think they're doing a really good job, because if you go back and look at the Denver game, in altitude, coming off a double-digit not only win, but you then had to play a double overtime game, jump on a plane. I would imagine, did they gain an hour coming back to Denver?
I don't think so.
I think they're both Mountain Time.
I think they're both Mountain Time. But
yeah, but I mean, you probably got to the hotel 2:30, 3 a.m. because of the fact you played a double overtime game, and by the time you get out of the stadium, get to the airport, get on the plane, get to Denver. Remember, also, Denver's airport is not close to the city.
It's brutal.
It's like a 30, 35-minute bus ride with no traffic, right? So you get there, like I said, between 2 and 3 a.m. You got a game that night. One guy played 30 minutes or more, and that was Josh Giddey, played 30, right? Vooch played 29. Modest played 29. But I thought they did a really nice job of distribution of the minutes. I think that just goes to show you how they're monitoring the minutes. But at the same time, I think that they if they're going to continue to try to play at this pace, I mean, you've basically scored 150 in double overtime, 130 in regulation. You're going to have to go 10, 11 deep every given night, on any given night, sometimes every night, because it's just the stress that you put on the body. And it's not just about the game itself, right? It's the get the game in. Let's hurry up and get to the airport. Let's get on the plane. Let's get to Denver. Try to get your rest. I mean, that's the part that people don't realize really tears down the body, because you just don't have the time to recover, right? It's kind of like the NFL guys playing on Sunday, and then you see how poor of quality that Thursday night game is every week, right?
Just to illustrate what you're talking about, I got a note sent to me from Ben Heisler, a longtime friend of the pod. And he said, and I think he tweeted this, to put in perspective what the Bulls did in Denver. Since 2020, the Nuggets are 19-3 at home when their opponent is on the second game of a back-to-back. And the Bulls did it after playing that 2 overtime game in Utah. The Nuggets had not lost a home game as a double-digit favorite against a team on the second game of a back-to-back in almost 10 years. The last time there was an upset like that, it was when Denver was a 10-point favorite and lost to the Sixers by two on December 30th, 2016.
Oh my God, that team! Just think about that Sixers team.
Oh yeah,
that's Tony Roten and Nerlens Noel, Jahlil Okafor. Oh my Lord.
That's pretty incredible.
Look at them, just spouting those guys off. Bam,
he does that.
Bam.
And I also wanted to do this. I don't know, Jason, remember when I mentioned to you last night that I had something cool that I wanted to do today?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is what it is. I was watching Aaron Gordon last night.
Oh, good. You didn't even talk about him.
I know, and I was thinking about Aaron Gordon. I'm like, man, what an interesting story of this guy who is just this sort of leaper, jumper athlete who made himself into an outstanding shooter and put on all this good weight and has become a really rugged interior player as needed.
And he can still jump. He can still fly.
So I went and I looked at his, through 11 years, his list of comps. This list is poetry.
What is it, all over the place?
This list is all over the map of the 10 people who, just by numbers, are most statistically similar to Robert Horry. So all I wanted, excuse me. I mentioned. Damn it! I was looking at the name Robert Horry because he's on there. Sorry, Aaron Gordon. Robert Horry is one of the names.
I already have a name, and it's a long shot. But the thing is that you said it's all over the place, so I feel like there are no bad guesses.
There's no bad guesses.
Danny Granger.
Great guess, not on here.
Okay.
But all I'm going to do is I want to read the names, and then either you, Jason or Will, just first blush. I don't know if there might be a story involved. There might just be any thought of
Derek Favors.
Just no, not Derek Favors. Just let me read the names. So the 1, 2, 3, the fourth name I said, Robert Horry is on there.
Champion, yeah.
Champion, and sort of, I would say, ahead of his time as far as skill set.
Yeah,
probably.
All right, let's go with the names.
Okay,
because you already spoiled one.
Caron Butler.
Okay.
Underrated.
All right. Kenyon Martin.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. High flyer, high draft pick, good player, but never really,
right.
Perennial talent.
Number one overall pick, right?
And that's what I said.
Yeah, not the only one. Not the only one on this list either. Okay, Junior Bridgman.
Solid, all around, really good player.
I don't know who that is. Am I too young?
Yes, you are.
Yes, he's best known for being the key player that came back in the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar trade.
That's correct.
Interesting.
Also, remember, I do have a quick story for you. And Dan, I'm curious if you know this or not. I just am very fortunate to have known Bridgen from the time that I lived in Louisville.
He's a big business success, isn't he?
Yes, huge. But
yeah.
He ended up at Louisville because his coach at Louisville had actually recruited him and had him going to UCLA.
I did not know that.
Right. Denny Crum was an assistant at UCLA, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Under John Wooden.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out and recruited him in the state of Indiana and had him going to UCLA. Then, all of a sudden, Denny Crum gets the Louisville job, and Junior Bridgman flips and goes to Louisville, and they win a national championship because of him.
Well, I did not know that. I did not. That's great. So we're halfway through. It hasn't even really gotten fun yet. Okay. The next name on here, Orlando Woolridge.
Oh, baby.
Oh, no, he's much better than Orlando Woolridge.
I'm just saying stat-wise, that statistical comps, Woolridge,
legend.
Terry Boers always told the story about Jordan's rookie year when they were working out they were still at Angel Guardian, and it was before the multiplex and obviously before the Berto Center, and Jordan was a rookie, and I think Terry was a young columnist at the Sun-Times, and he came up to Orlando and he said, this is like first day of training camp, and he said, so how does it feel to have such a hot shot on your team? And Orlando said, "It's not my team anymore. It's his team. Go talk to him."
Wow.
That was
For
one
a rookie
practice.
to get that much respect?
Yep, one
Was
practice.
he like one of the first
Wow.
players that you would say was a physical specimen?
Orlando?
Yeah.
Well, in more ways than one.
What, are you gonna
Famously.
say you got fat?
No, Orlando. It was that's a real man. Is all I'm going to say. But no, the first one. No, there were ABA dudes. I mean, George McGinnis was one of those guys. But
You love George McGinnis.
George McGinnis was unbelievable, man.
You said
but
he was kind of
Orlando looked
LeBron
like he
before
was
LeBron.
chiseled out of stone.
Yes, Orlando had no body fat at all. No, I mean just that sort of V shape. Yeah, like a Sean Kemp kind of look. All right, hold on. There's more on
Jalen
this list.
Duren almost, but smaller.
After Orlando, Juwan Howard.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. The next name, Cliff Levingston.
Ha!
Cliffy.
Your guy.
Cliffy used to be all over the league on the Jordan video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where Michael did the one-handed fake and Cliff fell back and fell backwards. And he went around him and dunked it. But good news was that, that guy he was probably the first guy I ever played with that had that high a motor. Right? Obviously I played with MJ and Scotty and those guys, but I guess you could say Cliff was kind of raw, but just because of how hard he played, he just eventually would break you down.
Next name on this list, so far, these are Aaron Gordon comps. Caron Butler, Kenyon Martin, Junior Bridgman, Robert Ory, Orlando Woolridge, Juwan Howard, Cliff Levingston. The next name, Wayman Tisdale.
I wonder if Aaron Gordon knows how to play the guitar.
Not just the guitar. I think multiple instruments, right? Wayman Tisdale put out jazz albums where he was...
But he won a Grammy, didn't he?
He was nominated, I think. I don't know if he won. But yeah, like he went right into music. And he was still doing it when he was playing, too. The last two names on the list, the bane of my existence, Ersan Ilyasova.
Oh my God.
It's number 9.
No way. No. I've never seen I think I've seen him make 2 shots in his career.
He's never made a shot.
He's Bulls legend. Bulls legend,
Yes,
Ersan Ilyasova.
COVID
I hope you know.
legend.
I don't think he
Yes.
played a minute.
He didn't.
But he was rostered by the Chicago Bulls.
He was in the regular
Holy
season.
shit.
Yep. And the last name, also a former Bull, and the aforementioned other number 1 overall pick,
Elton Brand?
Joe Smith.
Oh, lost all of his money, right?
I like the Elton Brand, though. I like that one.
Yeah,
Joe
it was
Smith.
It was a good catch.
Didn't
but
Joe Smith lose all his money, or am I thinking of the wrong one?
No. You know who lost all
Jason
his money?
something, right? Jason.
No, it was.
It's one of the two.
No, the Chicago kid who went to
No,
Kentucky.
number 1 overall pick.
I'll think about it. It was
No,
it
it's
was,
number 1 overall pick.
You'll figure it out.
I know for a
I just
fact.
thought that list was absolutely wild when I read those.
You bring up Joe Smith, right?
Yep.
That's when the Golden State Warriors might have had the best little promotion ever.
No, it is Joe Smith. It is Joe
lost
Smith. Lost $61 million in fortune.
Just add his name to the list. There's plenty. But I was
Ended up with
doing
$3,000 in his bank account.
I was doing a game in Oakland. Remember, they were in Oakland back then.
Mm-hmm.
For the Golden State Warriors on ESPN radio. And during one of the timeouts, all of a sudden, here come all these people just trotting. They're trotting them out to half court. And you're like, what is going on? Well, they had this promotion that if your name's Joe Smith, call the Golden State Warriors. You'll get a free ticket, and we're doing this little promotion. So it was, because it's like the old saying, keep up with the Smiths, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they literally were like, he's a garbage truck driver. It's Joe Smith.
That's cute.
She is a grocery store clerk. It's Joe Smith. And they had all these people with all these different jobs, and they just went down the list, and it's Joe Smith.
That's cute.
That's funny.
That-
One time, I remember there was a segment. I think it might have been for a commercial, but somebody got, I think it was 10 Tom Bradys together just to discuss like the other Tom Bradys. So that's what that reminds me of.
I've got the list of all the guys that are famous for losing their money in the NBA. Joe Smith,
West, obviously.
Delonte West, yeah, but that was, I mean, obviously there's other things going. Kenny Anderson lost his $63 million that he made. Vin Baker lost his fortune. Allen Iverson filed for bankruptcy. Antoine Walker. That's what I was thinking of. Antoine Walker. That was due to lavish spending on family and friends, gambling, and other poor financial decisions. Yes. So be careful with your money, young man. Learn that lesson as well. And that is going to bring us to the OWC Trivia Showdown. And Will, you do not have to participate.
Who is this Dan Bernstein that we see here? Who is this?
Post firing Dan Bernstein, he knows he has to be a happier person.
I was about to say, Jason, what happened to the old curmudgeon Dan Bernstein?
I don't know. I think I became him. I sometimes read the comments on YouTube. I sometimes read the comments on YouTube, and they're just saying Jason is just like Dan when he was younger, and I just go, oh shit, am I really going to turn out like that?
What was that Tom Hanks movie?
Well, there was which one? Big,
yeah. Am I going to be walking through the store during the holidays, and Dan's going to be dancing on the plane with his feet on the thing
with Robert Loggia? Yes. That would be. I'd probably pull something. Now I got a surgically reconstructed knee. The other one's shot too. I could, if I tried to play chopsticks, I'd rip in half.
Yeah, but I don't think any of that affects how well you cast a fishing pole.
Damn right it doesn't. You're damn right.
God.
No,
we can't get into fishing though. We can't get into fishing.
I'm not even in my prime yet when it comes to that. No way. I'm still
no more
a raw
pictures.
Rookie.
No more pictures. Okay.
No, it's all right. I'm okay. I can show you that steelhead I got. It was 8-pounder.
You did send me that picture. You should post it and tag the guy.
So, Jay, do you want me to start with my question, or do you want to do yours?
Sure. I don't care.
All right.
Would you rather get it out of the way?
Yeah, I kind of liked mine when I saw it, and it's only because something happened the other night in the NBA, and that everybody was kind of showing what that might have meant. That Stefan Castle?
I think it's Stefan.
Stefan Castle and Victor Wembanyama each had a triple-double.
Yeah, I saw
They were teammates with a triple-double against the Golden State Warriors. This has happened.
And they lost. It's happened it too.
19 other times. Teammates have gone for a triple-double. And in those events, in the number of times it's happened, there is one player who was involved in 4 of them, one player involved in 3 of them, and 3 players involved in 2 of them. And those are the only names in NBA history that have been part of something like this multiple times.
Okay.
Can you name those players?
I'm thinking I'm going by volume here, just because the more triple doubles you get. So I'm going to say Westbrook first of all.
That is absolutely I like your reasoning, and you are correct.
Overruled.
No,
correct.
That is absolutely your approach to that was, Russell Westbrook has more than anybody else. There's a good chance at some point he's more likely to have a teammate do it. And yes,
4 times out of the 200 whatever.
Right. And but it's only So the guy who's involved 4 times in this is Russell Westbrook. Yes.
What about James Harden?
What would you say, Jason?
I said Jokic.
Jay? Jokic is the guy who was involved 3 times, twice with Westbrook, and once in 2023, he did it on the same night that Jamal Murray did it. But Westbrook and Jokic together did it twice. So,
that's crazy.
Yes.
Will said Harden, by the way.
Will said Harden. No.
I was thinking that as well.
James Harden's name is not on here. No, he never did it.
I was thinking that as well. His teammates weren't great, but I think he had a couple of every once in a while. Some of his teammates had a game. Luka might as well.
No.
LeBron
did it once with Westbrook in 2021.
Oh my God, I forgot they played.
And he did it in 2018 with Lonzo Ball.
Wow. So those are the three?
Well, no, there's two more who did it twice, but they did it together both times. Same team, same two guys. And all I'll tell you is they did it. They both had triple doubles in the same game, once in 2021 and once in 2019.
I'm going to say Giannis and Middleton.
Not a bad guess, but no.
Because I'm thinking guys that played together for a while.
Mm-hmm. I would not have gotten this.
Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili.
Not the right time period.
No, it's too recent.
2019 and 2021.
Yep. There's some wild names on here.
Is it going to be like D-Book and Ayton or something?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Both still playing.
All-Stars?
Yeah. Well, yeah. One.
Okay. Well, that gives me the fact that you kind of hesitated there.
Yeah. I don't know if one has made a couple of All-Star teams or not. One's made multiple All-Star teams. The other one I would include in underappreciated players that people generally don't realize. And then you play him and you're like, oh, yeah, this guy, like every time you play him, he reminds you of how good he actually is. I'm just going to give it. Yeah, no. I'm just going to give it to you.
No.
Yeah, because we're not even at your question yet.
Fine.
All
right, running out of time here.
Yep, it's Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Never would have guessed that.
Bam's a baller, man.
Yes, he is. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. But some of the other names here, Josh Hart and Kat did it. Mason Plumlee and Dennis Smith Jr. did it. Ja Morant and Jonas Valanciunas. Steph Curry and Draymond Green. I thought you guys were going to guess that. Paul George did it with Westbrook. Vince Carter, Jason Kidd. Ooh. One of these, Will, your teammates, your rookie year. You were this is January 3rd of 1989.
So that would have been Pippen and Jordan.
Yep. Jordan and Pippen did it against the Clippers. Hey, you didn't get into that game. Jack Haley played in that game and you didn't.
Bill Cartwright actually had a triple-double one time.
I was thinking Bill Cartwright.
But the problem was the part of the triple-double was 10 turnovers.
Turnovers, I remember that. And then let's see, the other names, Larry Bird and Robert Parrish, Kareem and Magic. Then you got to go back to 1969, Art Harris and Lenny Wilkins. 1964, Donnie Butcher and Ray Scott. 1962, the Cincinnati Royals, Oscar Robertson and
Tiny Archibald.
And Bucky Bockhorn.
I was going to say Robertson and Archibald. I don't know if they played together.
All right, Jay, your turn. Fire away.
The same team. All right. My question, there's only one answer, but it's a little bit of a toughie. So, since 2010, the Bulls, obviously Derrick Rose, right? And really good player for a period of time. And at one point they were the 1 seed, but they haven't really come that close to winning a championship. And it's not like they've won a ton of games since 2010.
Right.
Which Chicago Bull since 2010 has the highest winning percentage as a Bull with a minimum game count of 200 games?
Ooh. A
I
minimum
just want to
game
shout out the
count.
Enjoy Basketball podcast. That's Kenny Beecham's podcast because that's how I found.
Keith Bogan.
No,
it's funny.
Have to have at least 200 games played as a Bull since.
It's funny you said Keith Bogans. His name came up when we were talking about Okoro. I was in the press room talking to Wennington, And
love how you're saying we're running out of time, and then here we go. With
sorry,
this.
I compared Isaac Okoro to Keith Bogans. That was my comp. Just like the starter who isn't going to score.
So Jason, are you saying a minimum of 200 games, or this player only played 200?
Minimum of 200 games with the Chicago Bulls. So they had to play. They had to be on the team for a good while.
Kirk Heinrich.
Or no, good shout though.
Taj Gibson.
Nope. That's who I thought initially.
Damn it, I thought I had it.
But you're in the right. I'll say this: you're in the right era.
Joakim?
Nope.
Luol Deng.
Nope.
Wow.
200 games. Did Nate Robinson have 200?
It's not Nate Robinson, and it is somebody that played. It's not like he didn't play. So.
All right, who is it? Come on.
Oh, I get it.
No, you guys are right there.
Is it a guard?
No.
It's a okay. Oh, is it Mirotic?
It is not Nikola Mirotic. I don't think he played long enough for the Bulls, and he was kind of on some bad teams too.
Damn it.
Bobby Portis.
No. Little before then. A little before.
I don't know. Is it an American player?
Yes.
Black guy.
Yeah. Light skin.
Think about it. Oh, okay.
Light skin.
Okay.
All right, you think about it. I have this question
know.
for you, and then we'll call it a day.
All right. I don't know, Jason. Who is it?
Carlos Boozer.
Oh,
shoot.
Mr.
gotten
Give me that.
Give me that. Get that, Joe.
He, as a Chicago Bull, went 183-97 for a win percentage of 65.4%. That's not bad.
That's not bad at all. And now his kids are about to get drafted.
Well,
Who
his
is
kid is
it
going to be a
that,
top 3 pick.
Who is it that keeps getting called out now that has the Carlos Boozer painted on beard?
Oh, Jaylen Brown. The hair.
I was about
yeah.
to say, wait a minute.
It's not.
He made fun of it.
Carlos Boozer's
He
about
made
to be
fun
on
of it.
easy street. He already is, but
Oh.
it's about to get a lot easier.
I think Carlos is doing okay for himself, but
Yeah, no, he's doing good.
He,
All right,
he needs to go to
All right.
Turkey.
Okay.
But I was going to
Hold
say
on.
Jaylen Brown poked fun at it and said that's actually AI. That didn't happen.
Right. All right. You said you had a question, Will.
It's a bit.
Yeah, so I think all of us will agree that I don't want to say the Bulls have turned a corner, but they're pointing in the right direction. Pointing.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay, because they have talent, they have depth. What we've also agreed on is that they're lacking that guy or those guys per se, okay? But the question is, where is that guy? I know a lot of people hate that term, but where is that level of player? Let's change the narrative. Where is that level of player going to come from? Because I think now, because of the collective bargaining agreement, that guys just are not leaving their teams. It's just, you're not going to get somebody in free agent because it's just plain and simple. The players are always going to follow the money, and they're not going to take a $20 million, $30 million, $40 million pay cut to test free agency.
Well, I'll tell you where the answer is. That I would.
Giddy?
Well,
like that.
I don't think it's. I don't think it is modest or giddy, but I do think increasingly in the NBA, it is going to be the proper development of a raw drafted talent, and that's
are you
where
gonna say Noah Isenge.
No, but I'm going to say it's going to be somebody like that. It's going to be somebody like Giannis, who when everybody drafted him, they're like, "Who's this guy?" And he, he was like a big puppy and didn't know how to. It's going to be that. That's where it's going to come from. It's going to be a Pascal Siakam. It's going to be like. I'm not saying it is a Senge. Don't get me wrong.
Jimmy Butler.
But it's going to be, but more obvious young. Did you see when they cut away to show Senge last night? He looks like he's a child. I mean, he literally was kind of sitting there and looked like he was cold, and it's just like he looks like somebody's kid. And I know I'm getting older, so I see it that way. He is somebody's kid, but I think that to answer your question, for when Arturas Karnisovas is the guy who saw this fat kid from Serbia turn into the best player on the planet in Jokic. Nobody thought Nikola Jokic is going to be the best player I've ever seen. It's going to be somebody
might be the best offensive center of all time.
Right. It's going to be somebody like that.
value.
I think is the answer. I really do.
But it's not like he wasn't super raw. And you think about raw talent, he had innate passing ability that nobody else in the history of the NBA has possessed. I don't want to say like Magic Johnson didn't have it, but they're different players.
He needed a
what
commitment.
Jokic can do at that size is just remarkable.
Somebody had to commit to him, and he had to commit to getting in better cardiovascular shape. And
hey, he doesn't need to, though. I don't even think he is. He's slow as hell. He's fat and slow. He just happens to be great. He literally stands there. He's 7 feet tall. He picks the ball up off the glass and throws a touchdown pass.
Well,
so who cares about his cardiovascular system if he's putting 40, 15, and 15 on your head? It's like what Anthony Edwards said when when the Lakers traded for Luka. He was like, I don't care if he's fat. He's putting 50 on the board.
And he's reliable. He plays in all the games. When did he actually miss a lot of time because of an injury?
Well, what did Rod Beck of the Cubs used to say? You never heard a guy going on the injured list with pulled fat. And with that, we got to close this out. We can talk all day. This is so much fun, but we got to put a cap on it, and we're going to get back and do it when the Bulls have finished up this road trip, when they got the Wizards coming to town. Right? They've got
we do it next.
And the Ring of Honor. That's right. You're going to be home. When do you get home?
Friday.
Thanksgiving, baby.
Oh God.
Yeah, but listen,
it feels like forever away because I have so much work to do.
But I think, Dan, this is a good starting tomorrow. This is a really good. Can you look to schedule up real quick, and we'll end with this. I know they got Portland, then they have Miami, then they have Washington. I can't remember after that, but I think
Portland, Miami, Washington.
New Orleans is soon. New Orleans.
Yes. Then at the Pelicans, at the Hornets, at the Pacers, then at the Magic. You got some wins in here.
I mean, you could go back on another run.
Yep.
Watch them lose to the Pelicans. Watch it happen.
They won't.
No, but here's the thing. It's to me, I don't necessarily look at they could go on, but I think that now, is there a game until you get to Orlando? Is there a game where they should not be favored before the game starts?
Probably not. No.
All those games, they should be favored, regardless if they're at home or on the road.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's right. Heat, Wizards, Pelicans, Hornets, and Pacers, depending on who's playing, if anybody's taken a rest, obviously. And the thing about the Heat game is part of the NBA Cup, which they're tied, I think, for like second place in their.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, even the Portland games, here's the next 6 games, they should be favored.
I like Portland, though.
Yeah, I think you're right. So the point being, if you presume they're 5-1 and think about where they should be, it puts them right back in it. Yeah.
Also, keep an eye on Trey Murphy. Keep an eye on him because the Pelicans need draft capital. He might be dealt somewhere, and that's a dude. Ooh. I mean, 20-point per game scorer and really dynamic. I like him a lot.
All right, we're done with basketball, and I keep saying last thing, but
fine.
We've already, we picked on Dan a little bit. How he's Mr. Smiley now.
Come at me.
But
right,
Jason, I just figured it out, man. I was sitting here during the whole thing. I'm like, you look like, and I think this is a compliment, by the way. You look like the third Ghostbuster.
Harold Ramis?
Who's that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Definitely.
The way he looks right now with the hair, the glasses.
I need to get a haircut, is what.
Young Harold, there's a little bit of young Harold Ramis there, or like in Stripes.
Yep.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You could definitely do worse than his level of success.
I mean, we're going to
That'd be
slide
nice.
into Switzerland and slide right out, so nobody will ever know.
It's like going into Wisconsin. Nobody understands that reference either, because the drinking age in Illinois was 21. The drinking age in Wisconsin was 19, was 18, and then 19. And everybody used to drive there, get drunk, and then kill themselves driving home. So they standardized the ages. But that was that reference. It's Czechoslovakia. It's like going to Wisconsin. Only Chicago people knew it. All right, Will, this was an absolute pleasure, man.
Thank you guys. I had a blast. Anytime, let me
This
know.
is awesome.
Yeah, you're always welcome. You are absolutely always
you
welcome.
guys, I hope, listen, Jason, safe travels, get home, and,
Thank you.
have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
You too. I want to mention
well.
Will Perdue. You should follow him on Twitter at Will_Perdue32. And you can check out all his thoughts on these Chicago Bulls. This has been Organizations Win Championships. Like, subscribe, rate, do all of those things. We'll be back at you next week.
Organizations Win Championships, a Chicago Bulls podcast with Jason and Dan Bernstein on 312 Sports.